Hi, it's Susie here from Susie's Colouring Cottage. Welcome. Today I'm going to do a bit of a colouring chat, and I'm going to be colouring a picture out of Ladies of Nature, and that's by, I can't say her name, Elena Lazareva. And I'm also, before we start the colouring, I'm just going to show you a couple of pictures that I have finished in January. Bearing in mind I only started colouring in January. I've been doing a lot of swatching and practicing and listing out different combinations that I want to try. So I've got a couple of whips and I've got a couple of finished pictures. But I also found two pictures that I coloured back in 2017 when I first got into colouring, and then after those two pictures I did nothing else at all until this year, or just before Christmas I started. So I'll show you those pictures first, and hopefully you'll notice a bit of an improvement since I started those. So the first picture that I ever coloured was this one, and this was done with the Marco Raffine 72 set. I'd never done any colouring or skin or anything before that. It was just trying everything out. It's not smooth, it doesn't look blended, but I was proud of it at the time, and I really liked the way the background came out and her clothing. So that was the first picture that I ever completed. And the second picture was this one, and this one was out of Jane Madei's book, and I did a mixture of pencils and brush markers and a bit of gel pen, white Posca pen to do the highlights and everything. And I really like that one. I think that came out really well. So those two were from 2017. This year I've done this one, and just got a little bit of gel pen in there. I've only got about 10 gel pen colours, and so I can only use them, and I've just used them in the centre there. The rest of it is done with Prismacolor Premiers, and that one is from Fantasy Flower Garden by C.L. Aldridge. I've got two whips in World of Flowers that I'm doing at the moment. This one I'm trying out my new Black Widow set, so this is all Black Widows. I had a bit of a splodge down here with my white Posca pen, so it's not quite as neat as I would have liked, and I've just got this side to finish up and a few odd little bits on the ground, and then decide what I want to do in the background. So that's the one that I'm doing with my Black Widows, and this one is more of a test page than anything. Oh, let's get that so it stays. More of a test page than anything else. I started testing out my Black Widows, I've tested out my Prismas, and I've also tested out 3 polychromos that I've got as well. And so I'll continue colouring that one until it's finished. Just practicing really, that's all they are, is just practice runs to see how I get on. So that's those two. And then, so yesterday I finished this one, and this one is from the Timeless Beauty Specials by Momo Girl. It's all done in Prismacolor with some gel pens and some white Uniball Signo, and I was really doing it to practice my skin and hair. Not so happy with the hair, but considering it's only my first go I've really had of trying anything out with my Prismas, it's not too bad at all. I think it's come out quite well. Love the way the eyes came out, and overall I love the colour scheme. So that's all I've done in January, apart from a massive amount swatching pencils, all the different ones. I still haven't finished doing all the smaller sets that I've got, and I'm not going to bother with the Marco Renoirs because I really don't think I'll ever use those again. Famous last words. So anyway, today I thought I would attempt to do this one. I've got no idea how it's going to go because I'm sitting at a weird angle to do it anyway. I'm going to have to zoom in and adjust it. That's it. And just give it a go and see how it goes. So I'm going to start off with the skin tones and just give it a light coating all over. And while I'm doing this, I thought I'd just tell you all a little bit about me. And you know my name's Susie, and I live in Scotland on the southwest coast, about 30 miles southwest of Glasgow. And I've got 3 children who are no longer children. They're grown up, only one of which still lives close by. My eldest son, Tom, decided he wanted to try and get his career going with Apple, and he ended up getting a job down in London working at the Covent Garden Apple store, which is where he still works, and he loves it working down there. It's not quite his dream job, but his second dream job, I think he would call it. So he's having a great time. He works down there. So if you're ever in Covent Garden in London, pop into the Apple store. You won't see him on the storefront because he fixes all the phones and computers and iPads and what have you. So you won't ever see him. Well, you may see him on the storefront, but if you do, say hello to Tom. So he lives down in North London, and my second son, Jack, he works for the supermarket Sainsbury's. So he lives down in West Sussex, down south of England, and he moved back down there to make it easier for him to do his hobby, which is gaming. And he streams as a gamer, and he's a semi-professional gamer now, and he works in Sainsbury's basically to pay the bills. And he's a butcher and fishmonger in there. He likes it. He's enjoying himself. He's got his own place down there, and yeah. And then my third and youngest son, my 2 eldest boys are 31 and 29. I know, I don't look old enough. Everyone always says that to me. But yeah, my youngest, who's 25, is married, and he lives in Ayr, which is very close to me. And him and his wife had a beautiful little girl, just coming up for 3 years ago, so I have a granddaughter. My son Danny and his wife Annie, and they have their daughter Emma. So I'm very lucky to live close by and help out as much as I can. I do miss having my boys around, I really do. I wish the other 2 lived closer by, but you have to go where your career takes you, I suppose, these days. I'm just pleased I've got one here Otherwise, I don't know whether I'd be able to stay in Scotland if I was on my own. I do love living here though. We moved here in 2002 and we moved from New Jersey, which was where we were based for 2.5 years. We loved it out there. It was just, the contract ended after 9/11 and it wasn't possible to get another position out there, so we basically just had to decide whether we were going to stay and carry on looking or whether we were going to come back. And for everyone who lives in America, you know how expensive it is to live out there, so without a salary coming in it was going to be impossible. We stayed out there for an extra 6 months after the contract ended because my eldest was about to start high school and we wanted to give him the experience of going to high school for a couple of months. So we stayed out there so that he could go to high school, and then we came back. Now, we had a place in the south of England which, you know, we could have stayed in, but it wasn't big enough. It wasn't a family home. It was just about big enough for a couple, let alone family. It only had 2 bedrooms, so we knew that we were going to have to look elsewhere. And at the time, we were waiting for our furniture to come back on the boat. So, and the boys weren't in school because we didn't know where we were going to be living. This was November, and we thought, well, there's no point putting them in school until after Christmas, so that's what we decided. We would wait for the furniture and decide what we were going to do. In the meantime, we decided to come up to Scotland to visit some friends, and pretty much in the week that we were up here, we found somewhere to live that we liked. We got the boys registered in schools and rang the removal company and told them that when the ship docked, we needed the stuff shipped up to Scotland. And that's basically what happened. So we literally never moved back down south. We just stayed with my in-laws for a little while, and then we came up here. So that's the story of how we got to Scotland. And 10 years ago, my husband decided he wanted another woman, so he left me, and we got divorced. Well, it was 11 years ago he left. We got divorced, and I've been on my own ever since. Oh, I've had plenty of dates with losers and crackpots and nutters and all sorts of things. But there's always hope. I would love to meet somebody. But as you know, that's down to fate. I tried internet dating and kind of got put off by it a little bit. I was not impressed with the quality of people I met. People are very, very good at enhancing the truth, let's say. I'm not going to call people liars, but they're very good at enhancing the truth. And that really annoys me. Yeah, I had one guy who, I'm just using a blender pencil here just to smooth it out a little bit more. Oh, it's not doing the job. Why is that not working? Yeah, I had one guy who sounded lovely, you know, exactly what you're looking for sort of thing. So you think, right, okay, we'll go on a date then. And he'd said that he was 5'7", 5'8", and I thought, well, I'm 5'6", so that's not too bad, you know. Don't have a problem with that. Yeah. Well, I'm not kidding, when we met. And he was sitting down when I walked in. And I thought, oh, he doesn't look too bad, you know. I'm not one for worrying about what someone looks like anyway. And he stood up to greet me. And if he was 5 foot, you know, it would have been quite incredible. He was so short, and I'm not against short people, but why tell people you're 5'7" when they're gonna find out, if you ever have a date, that there's no way you're 5'7". You know, it's just illogical to me, totally illogical. I think I'm going to leave the face as it is for now and zoom you back out, and we'll look at moving the book up a bit, and I will zoom you back in and we'll work on the arms. Oh, I haven't got enough space to, I'll have to do it like that. Oh, sorry. Okay, so again, I'm just going in with a light coat of light peach as a base coat. I could have made her any colour I wanted. I just felt that with her little ears and being a rabbit, a lighter coloured skin suited her better. I do often think, though, we are inclined to colour people with the same sort of skin colour as we've got ourselves. And I really, really want to learn how to do all different types of skin tones, because not every picture in every colouring book is a white, fair Caucasian. And so I really want to learn how to do it justice, do the pictures justice by colouring the right coloured skin. So anyway, back to me, because, you know, it's my colour and chat, so I might as well let you get to know me a little bit better. So yes, we came back from America and moved to Scotland. The Scottish education system is not too dissimilar to that in America. It's more like that, I think, more like the American system than the English system is, because the Scottish system is very different to the English system. So we're back here. 2 of my boys are at high school here, although they were only high school and middle school in the States. There's no sort of system like that here. It's either primary or high school. So 2 of them went into high school. Because of their ages, my eldest, Tom, had to go back a year because he would have missed a year of his exam, 2-year exam courses, so he went back a year, which meant there was only a year's difference between him and Jack. And Danny went into primary school here, and we settled down. We sold our place, bought a house up here, and enjoyed living up here. As I say, then 11 years ago my husband found somebody else and off he went. Fair enough, don't hold any grudges now. Just hurts to think that Emma won't know us as Grandma and Grandad. But, you know, I'm Grandma, he's Grandad. His wife of 10 years is Granny. or Nana, I'm not sure. And yeah, it's all amicable. No point holding grudges, is there? Life's too short. So anyway, not long after, well, I suppose it was probably about 10 years ago, after the split up, I was having terrible problems. I suffer with psoriasis. I've had it since my mid-30s, and I was having bad psoriasis, which was obviously all brought on by the stress of everything. Anyway, I was in hospital a lot and actually got divorced while I was in hospital. Yeah, I had to get a special pass to get out of hospital because they wanted my papers signed at the court and nobody would bring them to me in hospital, and if I didn't go and sign them I would have been in trouble. So I had to go and sign my papers in court. Not basically in my pyjamas, but almost. Yeah, I had to get permission to go out of the hospital for an afternoon, go down to the courthouse and sign the papers. And that was in August. And the 1st of September, my divorce came through, and that was me, divorced. So part of my settlement was that he would pay 6 months rent on a place for me and one of my sons. The other two were living in a flat that we co-owned. Well, we didn't co-own it after the divorce, he did, but they were living away from home, so I just had the one at home at the time. And so I got out of hospital and got my house. I didn't have much to put in it because I didn't take anything. He'd actually put the house that I was living in, which was our family home, he put that up for rent while I was in hospital. So I had nowhere to go when I came out of hospital. But it all worked out fine. Got a lovely brand new house to rent for a while. I was there for a while until I couldn't afford it anymore. Right, I'm just going to get a quick drink of water. I will be back before you know I've gone. That's better. Did you miss me? I'm just going to put a little bit of colour. I'm not enjoying the Prismacolors on this paper. I don't know. I'm not really enjoying the Prismacolors at all, to be honest. I found with that one that I did yesterday as well, it was just, I don't know, I just didn't really like it. Oops, sorry, I forgot. Stop speaking. Didn't plan to do that. Just going to move you in a little bit. I forgot to do that. That's better. So I've just used a bit of henna on the lips. Just going to blend that in a little bit. And later on I'll look at putting some highlights on it and everything. And I'm going to do the eyes next. So I'm just going to find the colours. Okay, so I'm not really sure what colour eyes a rabbit would have, but I'm going to go for the green because I just feel that would be right. And I'm just going to put a little bit of chartreuse in there first. Then I'm going in with a tiny little bit of true green. And finally some grass green for the darker parts. They're so tiny, it's difficult. So I will go in with black ink later on and define the eyes and everything like that. In the meantime, I'll just take my black. I'm actually working quite a distance away. I'd be a lot closer if I was colouring myself. So it's not easy on these tiny little eyes. But I'm happy with that. I think they look quite pretty. They'll look better once I get the gel pen and everything and the black around her. So the next thing then is to think what colour to do her dress and her hair. Oh, I kind of want to do her hair grey. I know it is grayscale and it looks kind of grey, but I just always think of bunnies as being white or grey. That's, well, my bunny when I was little was anyway. I don't know. What do you think? I think I'm going to go for a slightly unusual combination here, just because I want to try them out really. I'm going to go for slate grey, jade green and cloud blue. Should come out quite sort of greyish, but with that bluey tint to it. So I'm just going to go in all over with the cloud blue to start with and see how we get on. Oh, this is really difficult. I'm so far away. I'm just trying to think what the next saga of my life is, really. I don't think there's much more to say. I sadly lost my mum back in 2016. And I miss her very much. And I think that was probably what caused me to get fibromyalgia. Can't pinpoint it exactly to that time because obviously with something like fibro you don't really know what you've got for years, and I only got diagnosed officially with it last year after lots of tests and what have you. So, but I'm pretty sure that that certainly went a long way to causing me to have all the problems that I now have. So I mentioned that I have psoriasis and things do get bad at times. I still get very embarrassed by it, especially when it's bad, but I am on a new treatment that's hopefully going to help and sort things out for sure. And along with the psoriasis, a little bit later on in life, came the psoriatic arthritis, which is, for anyone who's got it will know, very, very painful. And all the treatments they would normally diagnose for that, I've had and can no longer have, either because they affected my kidney function or my liver or something like that. So now I'm reliant on the psoriasis treatment that it's going to help the arthritis as well. So along with the psoriasis and arthritis and fibro, I've got diabetes type 2. which I'm convinced has not been helped at all by all the drugs that I'm on, but that's another story for another day. If I could stop taking all the drugs and find a natural alternative, I would do it in a heartbeat. But it's not easy to do. Okay, so I'm going to try and move a little bit closer without... I did it. I knew I'd knock it. I knew I'd knock the table. Okay, so I'm going to go in with my second lightest colour, which is jade green. I'm just going to put... Very difficult to flick, like Sammy says in her tutorials, but I'm going to give it a go. It's just such a weird angle. You know, normally you're colouring in front of you, and I'm sort of colouring side on here. But it's all a learning experience. Yes, so all my illnesses have basically meant that I had to give up work. After my divorce, I studied and qualified as a professional photographer. I got my diploma, which I was very proud of and very excited to get. I did do family photography for a while and pet photography. I also used to love going out into the Scottish Highlands and taking photos and things out there. There's really nothing nicer than being out in the Highlands with your camera. Not that I was climbing hills or anything, unfortunately. I can't do anything like that, but I was able to walk as long as it was on the flat. And unfortunately then things got a lot worse, and I ended up having to stop doing it because I just couldn't, I didn't know from one day to the next what I was going to feel like when I woke up in the morning. So that was the end of that. I still have all my camera and everything, and when I'm feeling up to it and the weather dictates, I still go out. My youngest son, Danny, he's a professional photographer. He's got his own business. He does commercial photography. He works for some estate agents and property management companies, and he does mainly interior housework and housework. Mainly interior house shots and things like that. But obviously he does get to do exterior work as well. He's really good portrait photographer, but unfortunately he just found that there wasn't the demand in this area or the money, or they weren't prepared to pay the money that he felt he was worth. So he had to stop doing that to find something that was going to pay the bills, and he went into the property, well, commercial photography anyway. It's not just property. Oh, that was good. That's what I hate about prisoners. Oh. Don't you just hate it when they do that to you? Oops, I'm getting stuck to everything. Right, I won't be a second. I'm just going to sharpen that again. I find that, considering I've only been using my pencils for a short amount of time, and also I've only actually coloured 2 completed pictures and done a load of swatching and a few bits and pieces, I don't think these prismers are going to last me 6 months at the rate they keep breaking and I have to keep sharpening them. It's just pretty bad. I'm not very impressed at all. I mean, I was lucky that they were given to me for a birthday present by my son. But if I'd have known, I kept watching the likes of Dee Dee say, oh, they're the best ones and I like them best, and other people saying, oh, start off with Prismas, you'll love them, they're nice and soft and blah, blah, blah. But I just think I'm too heavy-handed. That's my problem. And I just not 100%. I almost prefer the Black Widows, and they're soft as well. Although the 3 polychromos that I've got, yes, I love them. So they are on my list to get at some point. It'd be nice if I could get them sooner rather than later, but in the meantime I'm looking forward to the Black Widow skin sets coming out. I believe they're coming out in February. I hope they are, because I'm dying to get them and carry on practicing the skin, but with the Black Widows instead. I'm trying to do the darkest of the shadows on the hair with this. Take out the dark. As I say, I'm going to have to get used to colouring at this angle, or find another way to have my camera if I'm going to do colouring chats on the channel. If there's anything particular that you'd like to see me colour, or anything like that, please leave a comment. I mean, I'd love you to leave a comment anyway, because I like getting comments. That's nice, and it does help the channel grow when you get comments. And don't forget to invite everybody you know to come along and like the channel. I don't care if they don't watch it after that, but it would be nice if I got some more likes, more followers. It's just so exciting. I mean, I got to 100 subscribers the other day and I was over the moon. Couldn't believe it. You know, considering I only started the channel 2 weeks ago, I was just like, oh, where did they all come from? So, yeah, it was really nice. And when you comment, tell me a little bit about yourselves. I'd love to know where you're from and what sort of colouring you like to do. What's your favourite books? As I say, I've got a few books now, but I haven't got that many. I'm just going to get that little bit in there that's really dark. I'll probably go back with the black later on. But give that a try. I'm trying to just get rid of all the dark lines. And now I'm going to go back in with the lightest colour, sort of blend into the highlight areas. So what do you all think of this colour combination then? I'm actually liking it. I think it's really nice. I'd love to have this colour hair myself. I'd quite happily go to the hairdressers and say, can you do me that colour? At least it would hide the grey. I'm trying to decide at the moment whether I want to just let my hair grow naturally and go grey, or whether I want to keep colouring it, or whether I want to have it dyed a sort of grey colour. Obviously I'd want something in it. I mean, I don't want to just be old lady. I'm not going for the shampoo and set just yet, even though I'm a grandma. I quite fancy having a bit of purple or some lilac-y highlights or something like that. I think that would look really nice. Be a bit kooky as well. I had my hair cut before Christmas and they cut 8 inches off, so I went from having long right the way down my back hair to almost shoulder length. She actually cut a lot more off than I'd anticipated, but not a lot you can do about that. Once they start cutting, don't they? Just sharpening the pencil here for a moment. I'm not using my battery operated sharpener because it's so loud. I just want to go back in with a medium colour. Let's get some of those darker areas covered. I'm surprised how quickly a picture this small has come together so far. I think I'm going to give it a break because sitting at my desk in this position is not really doing my joints and my back any good. So I think once I've finished doing the hair, I'm going to call it a day for this colour and chat. I hope you've not got too bored with my ramblings and you're enjoying what I'm colouring. I'll come back and finish off colouring her dress and the grass and things like that. Video will be up in a few, well, maybe 3 or 4 days. Just everything depends on how I feel when I wake up in the morning, unfortunately. I'm trying to get 3 videos a week up, but it's not easy when you don't know how you're going to feel. I'm just going over the lighter areas again, all being guided by what was drawn in the first place. But hopefully that gives it a nice highlight to her hair anyway. I think that's really pretty. So let's just zoom out and see what we've done so far. Oops. Alright, let's get that in there. I can go back in a little bit. So yes, she's got her bluey greeny grey hair. Done her skin and her eyes. Got all the highlights to pop in there and the skin on her arms. And I'm going to leave it there. I just want to say thank you very much for joining me in this first colour and chat. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've got any criticism or anything that you want to say, even if it's just hello, please leave a comment and don't forget to hit the thumbs up like button. If you're not subscribed, please press the subscribe button and don't forget to ring the bell so that you get notified when my next videos go up. And I look forward to joining you with the rest of this colour page in the near future. Thanks then. Bye for now. Bye.